Well, FBI agent Peter Strzok told lawmakers yesterday that anti-Trump text messages that he sent in 2016 in no way impacted his work on the Russia investigation. The marathon hearing was contentious from the start, often devolving into shouting matches across the aisle.
Well, yeah, we saw that, right? We saw multiple lawmakers screaming at each other when it came to the questioning. At one point, one lawmaker shouting at Louie Gohmert of Texas, you need to get back on your medication, because he
Yes.
asked Peter Strzok about his extramarital relationship that he had with Lisa Page. So now this was Strzok's first public testimony since he was removed from the special counsel probe. Republican lawmakers grilled him about his personal opinions regarding President Trump and how they may have influenced his actions. Paula Reed has more from Capitol Hill.
Been advised not to answer the
gentlewoman will
question.
suspend.
Amidst a fiery hearing that erupted into multiple shouting matches.
It is not a valid point of order. The chair has already
repress it,
on that
Mr.
question,
Chairman, 'cause
on
you
that
don't-
question, on that ruling.
Republican lawmakers grilled FBI agent Peter Strzok about anti-Trump text messages he exchanged with Page.
I don't appreciate what was originally said being changed.
I don't give a damn what you appreciate, Agent Strzok. I don't appreciate having an FBI agent with an unprecedented level of animus working on two major investigations during 2016.
Strzok worked on the Clinton email probe and was one of the lead investigators on special counsel Robert Mueller's team, but was removed when the inflammatory text came to light. He sought to explain one of those text messages in which he assured Page that, quote, "we'll stop Trump."
It was in response to a series of events that included then-candidate Trump insulting the immigrant family of a fallen war hero.
Democrats mocked the hearing as a joke, arguing it was a distraction from the ongoing special counsel investigation into the president.
They need to identify a villain. Mr. Strzok, tag, you're it.
Things got personal when Strzok was questioned about his extramarital affair with Page.
I can't help but wonder, when I see you looking there with a little smirk, how many times did you look so innocent into your wife's eye and lie to her about Lisa?
Mr. Chairman, this is outrageous.
Credibility of a witness
Shame
is always
on you,
an
Mr.
issue.
Mr.
And you,
Chairman.
North Carolina Republican Mark Meadows admonished his colleague Louie Gohmert for going there.
That's a line of questioning that I would never see as appropriate.
Paula Reed joins us now from Capitol Hill. We were watching yesterday, Vlad. It was like reality TV. Remember, we were doing the nominations for the Emmys,
Yes.
and I was like, maybe they could win an Emmy because it looked like a lot of acting.
And Paula did say that there were going to be fireworks
She
the day
did.
before.
She called it.
Yes.
I
predicted this.
The Oversight Committee Chairman, Trey Gowdy, implied that Strzok's texts were evidence that he may have attempted to influence the investigations into Russian interference and Hillary Clinton's email use. Here's a little bit of how Strzok responded to that.
I can assure you, Mr. Chairman, at no time in any of these texts did those personal beliefs ever enter into the realm of any action I took. And the suggestion that I, in some dark chamber somewhere in the FBI, would somehow cast aside all of these procedures, all of these safeguards, and somehow be able to do this is astounding to me. It simply couldn't happen. And the proposition that that is going on, that it might occur anywhere in the FBI, deeply corrodes what the FBI is in American society, the effectiveness of their mission, and it is deeply destructive.
So we edited that a little bit because it was quite a lengthy, sort of passionate speech that he made. And part of what he was saying there was that though he was working on both investigations, he's one FBI agent. And there's a lot of people above him and a lot of people below him. So what did you take away from the way Strzok defended his actions?
Well, he's trying to say that he didn't take any overt action while he was participating in this investigation to influence it one way or another. He also points to the fact that in the summer of 2016, he had what he describes as damaging information about then-candidate Trump and his campaign that he alleges could have derailed the campaign. And if he wanted to hurt then-candidate Trump, he could have, but he didn't. Now, some people will just have a difficult time believing based on what is said in these text messages, talking about the smell of Trump supporters or how then-candidate Trump was an effing idiot. People are going to have trouble believing that he didn't have bias that seeped into the Russia probe or the Clinton investigation. But what is indisputable is the fact that since these text messages became public, his actions have absolutely undermined trust in this investigation. Mueller's sort of approval rating is down double digits, and there are a lot of questions. When I talk to people outside the Beltway, outside the swamp, people are concerned about whether or not the president is correct, that the Russia probe is indeed a witch hunt. And Peter Strzok's text messages that he exchanged with Lisa Page, that gives those people a lot of fodder to support the argument that this is not about the facts, that this is about attacking the president.
Paula, as you know, some Democrats yesterday during this committee hearing brought up Republican lawmakers who also had harsh words for then-candidate Trump in 2016. Here's what Senator Ted Cruz said about candidate Trump during the campaign. Take a listen.
I'm going to tell you what I really think of Donald Trump. This man is a pathological liar. He doesn't know the difference between truth and lies. He lies practically every word that comes out of his mouth.
All right, let's throw up a tweet from our friend Dan Senor, who's a CBS News contributor. He wrote this: "It's disorienting to have commiserated with someone regarding Trump about how he was unacceptable, and then to see that someone become Trump's VP." So last month, the Inspector General report criticized Peter Strzok for his text, but did not find that bias impacted the outcome of the Clinton investigation. So what were Republicans trying to achieve in attacking Strzok's bias? Because there were so many others who had negative things to say about candidate Trump. And Strzok also criticized Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton in some of those text messages.
Well, that's right. They're trying to argue that, look, Republicans are now saying Peter Strzok was biased, but they were the same people criticizing the president, then candidate Trump. But, of course, there is clearly a difference when you are in the heat of a political campaign criticizing someone as compared to when you are leading an investigation, a criminal investigation into that person or the campaign. It doesn't really seem to be an equal comparison. But, you know, at least they tried.
Strzok also talked about Russian interference, and he called yesterday's hearing a victory for Vladimir Putin. I mean, some people might say that that was a little bit inflammatory, but does he have a point there?
He does have a point. What he's arguing is that Russia's whole goal, according to our intelligence agencies, was to sow discord in the U.S. and was to pit parties against each other and people and even within causes, pit people against each other to sow discord. And clearly this hearing is a manifestation of that. But you can argue that perhaps Vladimir Putin is not at fault specifically for Peter Strzok's text messages. He wrote these, and while he believes he is entitled to his own personal opinion, which he can express to a friend at off hours, he wrote these texts while he was investigating both Clinton and the Russia investigation. And you could argue that that is really his fault and not something he can pin on Putin. But when it comes to a winner, if there was one in this political slugfest, as Strzok noted, he was not in the room. The winner here was ultimately Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, it really was a political slugfest, Paula. As you know, Peter Strzok is still an employee of the FBI. I was struck by how when he attempted to confer with his FBI counsel, Chairman Goodlatte did not allow him to do so. I thought that was sort of unusual. He's an employee of the FBI. He's conducting an investigation. The FBI is conducting an investigation into Russian collusion in the 2016 election. So he had to go through his personal lawyer, and then the personal lawyer had to ask the FBI counsel. The FBI
Broken
counsel
telephone.
had to, right. Was that sort of, is that the norm? Is that typical?
That's typical. Let's be honest. I mean, we've never seen an investigation like the Russia probe. We've never seen someone leading an investigation text messaging their romantic partner and colleague, undermining the subject of the investigation. There's no protocol here. But the fact is, Strzok is still an employee of the FBI. He could be suspended. He was escorted out while this investigation, this internal investigation, plays out. But it would seem to reason that he could at least confer with the FBI attorney, because they're trying to protect any evidence that would still be used in this investigation. Of course, that was the very first question. That was the very first thing that happened. The first question he was asked, he tried to consult with the FBI lawyer, and the whole thing devolved into chaos about parliamentary procedure, about subpoenas, about which lawyer you can talk to. It took 10 minutes for them to resolve this particular issue about which lawyer he could speak to. It's part of why this hearing went on for 10 hours.
Yeah. Paula Reed, thank you so much, as always. We appreciate it. You're there on Capitol Hill for us.